for Career Conversations with Viv, and a happy Memorial Day to you all. And for those of you that are not celebrating today, think of something fun to celebrate for tonight. I don't know what that could be, but thank you, Rosemary, Cindy, Max, for joining us. And let's just dive into adding value to everyone's life. I today want to be the solution to some challenges that we may be facing. I want today to be a source of inspiration for you. And so we're off to a jolly good start. So a warm welcome to everyone. Hi, Luca, who's just joined us. Beautiful name. You must be Italian. Yeah, Luca. Yeah, Luca. I wonder if it's the Luca that I know from years ago. Oh, gosh. Anyway, hi, Susan. Thank you for joining us today. Rosemary, over to you.
Hi, Susan. That's actually one of my dear clients that's on. So it's so nice to have her on here. Hi. Okay, so Vivienne, today we're going to be talking about career conversations. So the first question I have for you is, what is a brand and why is it important to your career in this day and age?
A good question. Now, isn't it funny? Years ago, when I came into hairdressing, to be creative, to be an artist, to make money, no one spoke about a brand. If you were fortunate enough and you worked for a major company, there was a PR department, or you hired a publicist, or you worked with an ad agency that was building up your business, or you worked with a marketing company. And then if you were really fortunate, you got to work with a photographer and an art director who would start to tell you what had the importance of creating your story. I don't know of many hairdressing schools around the world that teach us PR, marketing, photography, and here we are, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and the beat goes on. We now have to build our brand. So what is a brand? A brand should represent who you are, and it should also represent who you are not. And years ago, I was interviewed by a journalist, Rosemary, and he said to me, "So what's your brand?" I thought, brand? And I started to think about baked beans because I like English baked beans, Heinz baked beans. I thought, well, that's a brand, isn't it? Because they're the best baked beans out there, Heinz baked beans, right? And he said, "You don't know what your brand is, do you?" I said, "No, I haven't a clue." And I felt so embarrassed. He said, "Your brand is beauty with a twist, creativity with a twist, classic with a twist." He said, "You don't just do beauty, you don't just do edgy, there's always that beauty that runs through it." So I suppose the number one thing is, what is your own personal style? And how can you mirror that style out into the world with authenticity that people will enjoy and embrace? And the importance today of understanding your messaging, how you take your photographs, all those important things about the image. And I think another way, Rosemary, to talk about brand is, what's your story? What's it for you, Rosemary?
I think my story, well, I believe my story is really just finding the essence of the being and finding the beauty within to create the beauty throughout, and I've been kind of classified as this short haircut expert. I really don't look at myself as one specific trajectory of one lane of cutting. I think what I am most geared to is finding the essence of that human being and developing that person.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's really interesting too, Rosemary, and I'm sure you, Max, and Cindy can relate to this. When we've done bridal looks, and we do a beautiful bridal look, and we put it on our website or we put it on our social feed, it's interesting how that plays out. And whether you're an editorial stylist, and that's how you make your living, or whether you do a little bit of brides on the side, I have been told by everybody across the board, from marketing people to PR to agents who represent talent, do not mix bridal with everyday. And one of the best tips that I can give to you today is that if you do want to build a bridal business, you need a separate page, you need a separate place because it's so specific. It's different from red carpet. It is different from everything else, and it gets diluted and lost in your messaging when you have your generic page with your pretty backs, your nice colors, your nice makeovers, and all of a sudden there's a bridal image that appears, or all of a sudden there's something that is so specific. So my suggestion today would be that if you are interested in building your bridal business, and guys, it's like at last people can go out there and get really married again and dress themselves up. A lot of us get intimidated by the idea of dressing up, but I promise you, as in anything in life, when you have technique, systems which can be taught, you practice it. Every single person watching me today could be a genius editorial stylist and a genius dress worker of bridal. And that's part of a brand, isn't it? So separate them, create your bridal page, create your everyday looks. And if you really want to boost your red carpet, create a separate funnel for that so that it all makes sense. So I'm just going to do a big shout out to some of our friends who are joining us, Antone, Andrea. Thank you so much. Does that make sense, Rosemary?
It most certainly makes sense. And for a personal gift for everybody, can you please send a shout out to my nephew? He's saying that he loves us, and I love you too, Odin. He's out. He joined us, and I just wanted to send love. So I love you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Andrea and the rest of the crew and Susan. And we're going to move on to Max. I don't want to take up too much time. So go for it, Max.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Sexy voice. You got your radio voice on, Max.
Right? So Vivienne, my question for you is, what advice would you give to someone who is actually in the sort of formative stages of trying to develop their brand and maybe doesn't know where to start?
That's a great question. That's a great question because, okay, what do you like? So, for example, Max, what are your favorite looks that you like?
I mean, for me personally, I love bobs. I love, just long, soft, sexy layers. I like really simple, sort of like lived-in hair color looks. For me personally, it's like anything that's like a more minimal or less is more kind of approach.
Great. Okay,
kind of
so you said important things there, didn't you? Less is more, relaxed, simple. Obviously, I know you well, you like modern and fresh, so you always like to infuse that. So you've already described your style. So I would say to my friends, hi, Sandra, I would say, first of all, write out some of the important qualities because words have power.
Definitely.
When you say, I love classic, then start to harvest and gather, curate as many classic looks as you like, and start to create like a mood board, whether it's digital mood board, whether it's just a folder with all of your favorite looks, whether it's Pinterest, wherever you want to store them so that it is an easy way to go back and look. If you say, oh, I get so excited when I do edgy hair, is it edgy and is it boyish? Is it edgy and sexy? Is it edgy and grunge? How is that edgy? There's so much power in a word. Go out and harvest and find those looks. As you start to harvest them, also start to think about yourself. What is your style? Like, I have an amazing consultation. And for any of you who don't know, we just launched viviennemackinder.com. And we have a program called the Hair Designer Program. And the first stage of that is to find out your style. Find out, how do you develop that sense of style? Where does that creativity come from? Because creativity is like a muscle. The more you flex it, the stronger it gets. And it's ironical when you look at some of the greatest artists throughout history, some of them peaked when they were 70 years old. So creativity is that ability to explore ideas, problem solve, and come up with something substantial at the end of it. So in our designer program, we have this one category which is called Who is Sitting in Your Chair? Now there's a consultation there. I always say to everyone, do the consultation on yourself first. Who are you? Be the best version of you, the most authentic version of you that you can maintain. Not something that's only good once a month, but you can maintain that look, right? So that requires time, money, desire, consistency. So it's got to be a look that you can maintain. Then when you put that together on yourself first, and you take a great photo of yourself, because we all need great professional photos of ourselves, it says, this is who I am, come on in. This is who I am. I invite you into my world. I want to create beauty for you. Once you've identified you, then it's much easier to go out and start identifying other styles that you like. And then, of course, the big thing, Max, Rosemary, Cindy, is the look that you want to do. Is it in your demographic? Because if it's not, you're going to have to move.
Yeah.
So where you are, Max, are there people that appreciate that sensibility that you described?
I mean, I think they are there. It's just finding them and flushing them out because they're a little more dispersed because it's a country.
Yes, absolutely. I want to just mention someone amazing, Presley Poe. Love, love Presley Poe, an incredible colorist. We did a series of videos with Presley Poe, and you can actually go to viviennemackinder.com and see her collection. Fantastic. One of the many things I admire about Presley, but one in particular is the authenticity of who she is. She has a very edgy, beautiful look. Every single image on her Instagram feed is a real client. It's not staged, it is real. She puts out the creativity, she puts out that edge, and she makes sure that that edgy person suits that look. So she doesn't compromise beauty. And she has been able to build in the area where she lives, which is not high profile, trendy. She's in Oregon, which is fabulous, but it's not known for cutting edge, crazy hair. If you're in Tokyo, yeah. Maybe if you're in certain parts of London, yes. But it's not known for that. We know more for what Max is talking about, that natural woman, right? But she's created that niche because she got such clarity around the image that she is, the image that she wants to portray, and she gave very clear messaging. And clear messaging is everything.
Yeah.
So start the consultation on yourself, first of all. And if you haven't seen my consultation, go to the website and you can join us and you can see the value of how that will build your business as well as your brand. Cindy.
Hi, everyone. My question centers around skill set. So how does what you're capable of, what your skill set is, affect or speak to branding and personal style? So in other words, is there a skill set that I absolutely have to have, like before I develop my style, or can it all develop together?
That's a really great question, Cindy. I think it can develop together. So let's look at it as this. Technique. A strong technique and understanding the architecture of a haircut, the color mapping of color, the foundation of dress work in order to dress it out into something fabulous. Those are all solid techniques. That technique, when fully understood, the why, and can it be repeated, is critical, because that's where your speed comes in. That's where you de-stress yourself because you know that that technique is going to give you that result. You have plugged into your sat nav or your GPS, depending where you live in the world. You've plugged in, oops, you've plugged in, lost my ear thing. I need bigger ears. I got pixie ears. They're so tiny. It's the only part of my body that's tiny. Can you still hear me? Okay. So when you are clear about where you are going, it's because you can see the end result. So you've got to be able to reverse engineer a look. So when a client shows you a photograph or you see something that's inspiring, you have to be able to reverse engineer. That can only happen through strong technique. Strong technique is a confidence builder. So we have the hair designer program, which takes you on a journey of mastery. It's investing and coming along with me on this amazing journey where we break it down bit by bit and we set you up to be successful because they're building blocks. It's not random learning, it's structured mentoring and guiding. So we are doing that to help skill set. We have animations, we have all these cool things that we're doing that are absolutely incredible. And I don't know. I think my earphones have gone dead. Have I gone dead? Can you still hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear
Yeah,
us?
you can hear me. Okay. So can you hear me on Instagram, my friends? I hope you can.
We hear you on both.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
So technique is the first thing. So when you're presenting your brand, if you only show one technique, what's going to happen is when that one technique is no longer trending, then what? We can't be a one-trick pony. We have to have diversity, which is so important because that keeps us fresh. So yes, we've got to build technique on our feed. Everyone can see quality, whether it's a handbag, whether it's a hotel you stay in, a restaurant, we can all tell 5-star versus 1-star.
Yeah.
I think most of us would love 5-star if our budget would allow. So quality of work is more important than quantity of work. When you look at your work that you're creating and you post to promote yourself, is it true to your style and brand? Is it technically looking beautiful? But more important than anything of this is, have you made that person look beautiful? Those are very important things because beauty, that drawing that person in, a photograph should draw you in, especially in such a crowded market. When we're living in the crowded market where everyone is a publisher of their work, we want to find our niche. We want to do absolute quality. We want to be true to our brand. So technique is critical. But let's talk about artistry. Who out there is right now teaching you how to be more creative? Who out there right now is teaching you how to develop that great sense of style? That is something I've spent years doing. I used to do a course called Roots and Wings. Roots being the foundation. This is where you plant yourself in strong technical knowledge. Horizontal lines will always give you this. A vertical line will always give you this. A diagonal line will always give you this. There's only 3 ways to cut hair: vertical, diagonal, and horizontal. When you understand that architecture and you understand technique, that is huge. But let's talk about the wings. Intuitive, inspired, passionate, emotion, feeling. Now that comes and goes. So it's the wings where you can express your creativity. Now, what does that mean? Maybe it's just moving the parting around on that client. Maybe it's just scrunching her hair dry instead of using a curling iron. Creativity doesn't mean putting a tree on someone's head. Creativity can be a soft whisper, subtle, a peekaboo, a mood swing fringe. It's a way of thinking that is delicious. Because when we think about monuments and creating crazy stuff, yes, that's creative. but we live in the real world where we're commercial artists. So it's the subtle things, the little tiny things where the creativity flourishes. So to answer you, Cindy, yes, our feed should be true to our style. What is our story? Cindy, what's your story? Well, how would you describe your brand? You're here on Long Island. You're in a very lovely area, but tell me, you've got people from New York coming in. You get a real mixed bag where you are. What's your style?
I feel like my style is contemporary classic. I took a house. Okay, my friend lives in a contemporary classic house. And so everything is, I like it to be very up to date, but I also like to have that foundational part of it set so that, like you said, you spoke about roots and wings, and I really felt like I was there for that. So I learned that from you, and I've taken that with me. So yeah, so yes, I have the classic training, but I'd like to go outside of that a little bit when I can.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Wow. Wow. So, Vivienne, first of all, you have to give a shout out to Ray Rose. He took one of your classes and he said you changed his life forever training with you.
Oh, Ray, thank you so much. Thank you, Ray.
And people are loving you everywhere, and they're just from the West Coast to the East Coast, Northwest. Happy Memorial Day to those of you who are in the States, those of you who are overseas. Thank you for joining us, and we'll celebrate Memorial Day with you, even though it's something we do here in the States. And good morning to everyone. And Vivienne, you know, you're putting solid gold out there. I mean, people are just love the way that you are breaking things down. So now, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the designer program, because that program, for me, has changed the trajectory of my career and has created a pathway for not only my professionalism, but also my understanding of the artistry of hair as opposed to just removing hair. So if you could just speak into a little bit about the self-paced versus the mentorship, and the importance of the understanding of that when you are developing your professionalism, your brand, your clientele, your career, or really even reinventing yourself. Can you just go through the process of it?
Sure. Well, I think looking back on my career, if I could think about anything that stopped me from moving forward, it was fear. What if I fail?
Yeah.
What if she doesn't like it? What if I run out of time? What if I get halfway through it and I have a moment? Fear. And I think it's real for us all. And the moment you set the bar higher, the fear of can you perform at that level? I've been on a job where I've been paid a lot of money, and the fear of being paid so much, wondering, can I live up to the expectations of the money that was put on the table? Fear is real. But there's something that happens when we put the intelligence of our hands in hair and we touch hair. That's home base. That's where we should all feel so empowered and confident, because the intelligence of our hands is touching. The awareness of our eye, how observant are we in looking at body language, looking at how quietly the client's sitting there, looking at the fidget. You know, is she a wallflower and she's shrinking in? Is she a poser and she wants everyone in the salon to know that she's there? Who is sitting in your chair? And fear is a scary thing, right? Mm. So trying something new could be, oh my gosh. But when we try something new, we should be experimenting on a mannequin head, right? So when I designed the hair designer program, I took into consideration that I have done training programs for the top companies in the world. I have been honored to train some of the most famous hairdressers in the world who have gone on to be so successful. I have stood by the side of the most famous hairdressers, watched them work and said, how did they come up with that idea? Wow, how did they just do that? And be mesmerized by their genius. I have, just like many of you, seen something fabulous on Instagram and thought, oh, I'm going to recreate it. got out of mannequin head and gone, I can't do that. Watch it again. So I remember watching someone work with an iron to create a wave. And after I watched this 1 minute video 15 times, and then I figured out how to make it go in slow motion, I thought that 1 minute video has turned into a 15-minute video and I still don't get it because there were some important things missed out. And there was no verbiage to explain why move to the left, why rotate forwards, why rotate back, why redirect it. There was no verbiage. So from all of my experiences of teaching over 45 plus years, I know that the gatekeeper to our confidence is putting the right look on the right person. Because I know all of you out there, you've done a genius hairstyle and it's been on the wrong person. And you're going, oh my gosh, that was like a work of art. That's the best bob I've ever done. Max, you'll relate to that. It's the best bob. And she just is not about it. She doesn't like it. Either the angle's too steep, the angle is too short, but it's perfect. Who cares? It doesn't fit her. Doesn't matter, right? So you have to meet the client in the landscape where they live. So the designer program has two options. You go at it at your own pace, or in September, we're going to be guiding you through it. So you can actually apply today to see if you can qualify to join for the guided hair designer program. And what we will do, number one, we will take you through who is sitting in your chair. We will show you how to make your consultations 5-star so that you're happy and your client's happy. Because you know what? If you're not happy, the client will never be happy. Let's start with a hairdresser first. Let's get you happy, you inspired, you enjoying what you're doing, not dull, not dead. Let's get you excited. Then the client, that energy is going to rub off on the client. That confidence is going to rub off on the client. So we start with the designer program, which is on viviennmackinder.com. We start with the consultation, designing to face shape. I don't know, I think I must have about 11 videos on there just on face shape, how to balance, open, close, disguise certain features that you really don't want. That doesn't mean put a bag over their head. And I know some of you have thought the only way to get around this one, honey, is put a bag on your head. No. So it's about taking you through consultation, develop. I teach you how to have a great sense of style. Who taught you in school style? There's an art and there's a science to it, and I figured it out. And I figured out how every time I do a look, it must fit who's wearing it. It must fit them from the inside of their head to the outside of their head. It must fit their age. It must fit their lifestyle. It must fit every aspect of who they are. So when they walk out, they're elevated and they feel good. That is the best advertising going. You can spend hours on social media and it is exhausting and tedious and fun, blah, blah, blah. But when you get it right, everything is king. Now, some people have a natural sense of style. Maybe mummy, auntie, daddy taught them that, but not everyone does. And so it's developing that. Being born with ginger hair was not easy. I was ridiculed. I was teased for being a ginger girl with freckles. I was the nerd at school. I never felt pretty. So I always hid back. And it's like, oh, I've got ginger hair. No one likes me, mum, because I'm ginger. So I struggled with my own identity and my own image. So it took time for me to embrace that. So I encourage you to embrace your style. And that's what the designer program does. It takes you from consultation through to moving and manipulating hair, finishing skills, some very, very light dressing skills. Then we get into the fundamental of the razor, the fundamental of cutting, where to stand when you're cutting. So you make both sides the same. Duh. That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Who's taught you that? And then we go through animated, beautiful step-by-step videos of all of the bobs, amazing graduation, and amazing layers. And by the time you come through that program, you will be a master. You will enjoy who you become on the journey because I hold you by the hand and I guide you. And whether you're in a big salon or whether you're in an independent suite, I'm here to support you. So the guided one is where we work every week together, which is really cool, virtually, of course. And then the self-paced one, you go at your own. So it's all of my years of studying in the different environments where I have worked, how to create that perfect look on that person, not the poser wearing the wallflower hairstyle and vice versa.
I love it. I love it. You know, I know how much just working alongside you has transformed me. So I can't thank you enough. But one thing I have to say that we may need to brand this name for you is, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, but on Facebook, Booter, if I say it wrong, calls you Vivienne McBrilliant.
Well, bless you. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you, Buta. Thank you so much. Buta, where do you live? I'm curious to know. But thank you. Yeah, you know, it's learning. Guys, I've made 1,000 mistakes in my career. The only thing that I can say that's been good about my mistakes is I learn it fast. When I screw up in my life, which I've done a lot, I just say to myself, how do I solve that problem? And I say to myself now, because it's very easy to be hard on ourselves, especially since COVID. I really beat myself up a lot during COVID, as well as the world beating me up as well. And I think we all have our story there. But I think that what we have to say to ourselves is that when we go into a situation, ask yourself, what would love say right now? If love entered the room, what would love say? And when you have a difficult client, well, what would love say to that? And when you're struggling with the hair and the hair is telling you, I can't do it, it's not working, what would love say? Because when you go to that place of compassion and sensitivity, you get out of the head and you get into the heart. And I believe every hairdresser listening today has a big heart and you care immensely. And you are wanting to be technically as good as you can be so that life is easy, because that's all technique is, make your life easy and repeatable. But what about you, the artist? What about you, the creative person? You know, we're talking about brand today. We're talking about how you find your style and your image. On my website, I have something called the 3 wheels of fashion, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a nugget of that because it's within the designer program and it's within who's sitting in your chair. When you look at your feed, do you want it to whisper, scream, or shout? Do you want quiet images? Do you want bold, memorable images? Do you want to be in between? Because that's personality and that's a lifestyle. So that's one of my wheels. My second wheel is, where do you live in fashion? Are you rock and roll, bohemian, classic, trendy, cutesy, ethereal? Where do you live on the wheel of fashion? Target that wheel. The sensuality of your look, whether it's a man or a woman. Is it very boyish? Is it very manly? Is it very macho? Is it very rugged? The women, is it soft? Is it sensual? Is it feminine? How does your feed look? Because if you look at your feed through those 3 wheels of fashion, that's how I train people to develop a sense of style. You apply those wheels, quiet or loud, fashion, sensuality. Now, there's a person that's going to respond to the loudness of your work. There's a person who's going to respond to the fact that it's all rock and roll and it's very cool. The question will be, are there enough rock and rollers out there who like loud to pay your bills?
It's true. It's true. So Boutier, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, is from Seattle. And
Seattle.
Yep. And Tracy Watson is hair obsessed. You are amazing. Love your classes. Life-changing. So
bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I wonder if we've had more rain this weekend than Seattle. Probably. It has rained and rained and rained. If I was a frog, I'd be really happy right now, but I ain't a frog. But I am starting to turn green.
Even the plants are struggling. They're like, all right, enough already, right?
Yeah, it doesn't even rain this much in England. In fact, I was thinking, like, where's Noah? I should go and build an ark. 2 by 2. Get all the animals in.
In Seattle, it's sunny. We just got a response on Facebook. So we're getting everything that we hear Seattle usually gets.
Yeah.
Is there any other words of wisdom, team? Do you have anything to ask to Vivienne? I know we're going a little over the time, but it's Memorial Day, and I feel like we should celebrate just everything at this point. Guys, anything?
Max. I mean, I think she covered it. It was really good.
Well, Vivian,
Yeah.
you want to share any pearls of wisdom before we sign off and reconnect next week?
Yes, I would say today's subject has been about your brand and building your style and building your story. Don't rush this. Don't copy. Be inspired, but find you. Find something that you can sustain and maintain that has longevity because it takes a long time to build a brand. And for those of you who've been in the business a long time, don't be frightened to reinvent yourself. There's a great quote: you cannot discover new horizons unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. If you're holding on with both hands to a way of working and a style, there isn't a hand free to take something new. You have to let go, trust in you, believe in where you want to go and go for it. And remember this: thoughts are energy, words are powerful. If you say, I today am going to reinvent myself and I'm going to start looking for some new inspiration and I'm going to have my own makeover, and then I'm going to slowly start making over my Instagram page with a new direction, just watch what happens to your business. I've had people on the hair designer program say to me, Viv, I've tripled my business. Viv, I have clients who were stuck who are now saying, I'm ready for anything. I've had people who've taken the designer program say, I'm quicker, I'm having more fun, and I'm getting the right look on the right person, so I'm appreciated. And let's face it, guys, who wouldn't want to be more appreciated for what they do? So today I say, explore what your story is. Be authentic to yourself. Do your homework. And I invite you, please do visit viviennemackinder.com, where you can see our beautiful ponytail collection. For those of you who want to get into that whole bridal vibe and dressing hair, it's our time. And just check out the amazing courses that are there. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Bye,
Thanks, Viv.
everybody. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Enjoy your day off.
Yeah.
Bye.